Good morning. So in 11.2, you are going to be comparing data. And just seeing the words comparing data can be pretty overwhelming. So I want you to always think of when somebody says to compare data, there are really two things you're looking at. You're looking at the center of the data, and you're looking at the spread of the data. For center, you might be looking at the median, you might be looking at the mean. It's even possible you could be looking at the mode, but that's unlikely. For the spread, you might be looking at the range, which is the maximum minus the minimum value. Or you might be looking at the IQR, which stands for interquartile range, and that's a range of your middle 50% of your data. And so that would be the third quartile minus the first quartile of your data. So when you're talking about how you're going to compare two pieces of data, you're going to be looking at two things. What's the center of the data like? What's the average value in your data set? And what's the spread of your data set like? So how spread apart are your values from that average? Are they all close to average, or are they spread all over the place? Another measure of spread that you might talk about is whether you see any outliers. In data sets that are not very spread out, you're unlikely to see an outlier. So we're going to look at a couple of examples. First, we're going to look at the upper box plot shows the top 12 men's long jumpers at the U.S. qualifying meet. The lower box plot shows the distances in meters achieved in the men's long jump at the 2012 Olympic Games. So if I were going to look at these box plots, the measure of center that's easy to read off of a box plot is the median. I can't get the mean from a box plot, but I can get the median. So I would say that Olympics has a higher median which makes sense. These are only people who've qualified for the Olympics, and these are the actual Olympics, or these are only people who are trying to qualify for the Olympics, and these are the ones who made it. So the Olympics has a higher median distance, and it's not only higher, it's quite a bit higher. It's a little over 8 feet, a little over 8 meters. Compared to 7.72 meters or so. Okay, so if I'm going to talk about the center, I would talk about the median. And then for the spread, I could talk about two different measures of spread. I would say the Olympics data is also more spread out. People at the Olympics are doing a once-in-a-lifetime event. They may have the best jump of their life because they're at the Olympics, or they might choke because they're at the Olympics. There are lots of different things that could happen, but the data for the Olympics is more spread out. And the way you can justify that is you can look at the range. The Olympic range is 8.3 minus 7.7, so 0.6 meters. And for the qualifiers, it is looks like 7.97 minus 7.67. So the range is 0.3 meters. We could also talk about the interquartile range. The interquartile range here would be 8.12 minus 7.82-ish. Whereas the interquartile range here would be whatever those numbers are. So the measures of center would be the median or the mean. The measure of spread would be the range or the IQR. Neither data set has any outliers that we can see anyway, so we wouldn't talk about outliers here because there aren't any to talk about. You can also compare these things with a histogram. With a histogram, you might not get the exact median, but you might be able to talk about where the median is approximately. The histogram below show the gross revenue in hundreds of millions of dollars of movies based on heroes from the two most popular comic book companies. And yes, this is just a knockoff of DC and Marvel. So if I wanted to talk about the median, I would say, or about the center, I would say, well, it looks to me like the median might be higher for Marvel. I'm not sure. I could take a look at that. So 11 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the center, the median is about $1 million. And for Marble, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So they look like they have, the median is also the same for Marble, because I'd have 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So somewhere in here, but I don't know exactly where in there the median is. It's somewhere in this bar for both of them. And again, I don't know exactly what, I mean, that's hundreds of millions of dollars, so that's a pretty big bar, right? Between 100 million and 200 million. Oops, I said 1 million, but it's 100 million. And I don't know what that is exactly, but I know that they are comparable. It looks to me like Marble has a bigger spread. Because the range goes from 700 million to 0. So, and the range here only goes from 600 million to 0. So just keep in mind as you're trying to compare data sets, it's all about looking at the center, whatever measure of center is easier to compare, and about measuring the spread, whatever way you can measure that spread for your data.